Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be reading Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears. This is our second read through, so our content framing question today is going to be, what do the words and illustrations reveal about this text, and how do they help us to understand it? So our essential question that's going to take us several weeks to answer, it's a really big question, is what makes the world fascinating? So that's why we're diving into learning about our 7 different continents to figure out what makes the world fascinating. Then our smaller question that's going to take us about a week to answer is, how can a story transport us to another place? So that's why we're reading this book. So this is not an informational text. This is a storybook, and it's a special kind of storybook called a folktale. So a folktale is a story that's been around for a really long time, and different places have different folktales. A lot of the time, folktales were just told for many years before they were actually written down. So we see in the beginning of our book, on our title page, that it's right underneath our title, Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears. It says a West African tale. So this is a story that's coming to us from West Africa. So it's transporting us to West Africa. So we can look at our map really quickly just to be reminded of where West Africa is. So here's our big map with our 7 continents. Here's Africa. And then this area is West Africa. It's made up of several smaller countries. So this tale is from West Africa. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through and we're going to look at some of the words and the illustrations to help us better understand the text. And then we're also going to collect some evidence for our focusing question task, for our writing prompt that we're going to have to answer in just a couple of days. So let's go ahead and open it up. Front cover, back cover, spine. Our author is Verna Ardema, and the illustrators are Leo and Diane Dillon. Remember, our author writes the words and our illustrator draws the pictures. So we're going to open it up. One morning, a mosquito saw an iguana drinking at a water hole. The mosquito said, "Iguana, you will never believe what I saw yesterday." "Try me," said the iguana. The mosquito said, "I saw a farmer digging yams that were almost as big as I am." "What's a mosquito compared to a yam?" snapped the iguana grumpily. "I would rather be deaf than listen to such nonsense." Then he stuck 2 sticks in his ears and went off, mink, 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 through the reeds. So look at that illustration. You can already see exactly how iguana is feeling. The iguana was still grumbling to himself when he happened to pass by a python. The big snake raised his head and said, "Good morning, iguana." The iguana did not answer, but lumbered on, bobbing his head, bada bing, bada bing. "Now, why won't he speak to me?" said the python to himself. "Iguana must be angry about something. I'm afraid he's plotting some mischief against me." He began to look for somewhere to hide. So in the text, it said that the iguana must be angry about something and that the python is afraid he's plotting some mischief against him. Mischief. If you're not sure what that word means, you can go back to the text to see if there are any clues in the story that will help us. Well, it says iguana is plotting something. And I know that plotting usually means planning something bad. So that gives me a clue that mischief is something that might be bad. It also said that the python was afraid of the mischief that the iguana might be planning. So he hid in the rabbit's hole. This tells me that mischief is probably something bad that someone might be afraid of. Maybe mischief could mean like a trap or even a trick. So the illustration in the story can also help us to understand unknown words. So look at the illustration of the python. How can it help us? We see that the python is trying to get away from the iguana. He has a very worried look on his face. Okay, he's in a concerned expression. So mischief is something like a trap or a trick that someone might try to get away from. All right, so now we're going to go and we're going to explore some unknown words in a different part of the text. And we're going to read this page when the lion gathered all of the animals together for the meeting. At last, King Lion called a meeting of the animals. They came and sat down, pem, 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 around a council fire. Mother Owl did not come, so the antelope was sent to fetch her. So it says Mother Owl did not come, so the antelope was sent to fetch her. So what do you think fetch might mean? What clues from the words help you know what it means? If you want to take a guess for yourself, pause the video here and explain what you think fetch might mean. So fetch means that someone is going to get something. So the antelope went to fetch the mother owl. He went to go and grab the mother owl to bring her to the meeting. All right, let's keep reading. When she arrived, King Lion asked, Mother Owl, why have you not called the sun? The night has lasted long, 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 and everyone is worried. Mother Owl said, Monkey killed one of my owlets. Because of that, I cannot bear to wake the sun. The king said to the gathered animals, Did you hear? It was the monkey who killed the owlet. And now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come. The King Lion called the monkey. He came before him nervously glancing from side to side. Rim, 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 rim. Monkey, said the owl, why did you kill one of Mother Owl's babies? Oh, King, said the monkey, it was the crow's fault. He was calling and calling to warn us of danger, and I went leaping through the trees to help. A limb broke under me, and it fell, on the owl's nest. The king said to the council, so it was the crow who alarmed the monkey who killed the owlet, and now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come. So again, we can look at these illustrations. What do you all see happening in that illustration? Then the king called for the crow. That big bird came flapping up. He said, King Lion, it was the rabbit's fault. I saw her running for her life in the daytime. Wasn't that reason enough to spread an alarm? The king nodded his head and said to the council, so it was the rabbit who startled the crow. If you startle, that means that you're maybe a little afraid and you run off quickly. Or you might jump if you're a little startled. Startled the crow who alarmed the monkey who killed the owlet. And now Mother Owl won't wake the sun so that the day can come. So I notice that rabbit running very quickly. Then King Lion called the rabbit. The timid little creature stood before him, one trembling paw drawn up uncertainly. So if you're not sure what that word drawn up means, you can see he has one little paw a little bit above his head. So the King Lion called him, so that's what drawn up means. What do you think timid might mean, and how do you know? So that little owl is timid, and we can see that I think it means he's feeling shy or even a little scared. And the text also says that the rabbit was trembling. And if you're trembling, that means you're shaking a little bit and you are afraid. And rabbit looks pretty scared in our illustration. So that illustration is really helping us to understand what's happening in the story. Rabbit, cried the king, why did you break a law of nature and go running, running, running in the daytime? Oh, king, said the rabbit, it was the python's fault. I was in my house minding my own business when that big snake came in and chased me out. So what we're going to do now, we just kind of used our text to show us how we can identify new words and figure out what they mean using our context clues. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we are going to collect some evidence for our focusing question task. So our evidence that we're collecting is going to be about some of the different characters in this story, and that's because on Friday, your job is going to be to write an opinion piece about who your favorite character is. So I'm going to show you how to collect evidence about the different characters so that you can think about which one is your favorite. So today we're just going to focus on 3 of our characters. If you liked another character in the story that I don't mention, you can also pick that, and you can even make your own evidence organizer. So we're going to look first, we're going to look at the iguana, the python, and the crow. And to make our organizer, we are first going to focus on what our characters look like. So the first character that we have is our iguana. So we're going to look in our text at some of the illustrations to figure out what the iguana looks like. So here he is here. What does that iguana look like? What color is he? He's green. What did he put into his ears? He put sticks in his ears. He's also, think about the size of the iguana in terms of all these other animals. Is he really, really tall, or is he short? He is a much shorter animal. So I wrote right here, this is my evidence organizer. If you want to pause it on this, you can. And underneath iguana, I put just a few words: that he's green, that he has sticks in his ears, and that he's short. If you make one, you can put whatever you noticed about the iguana in yours. So now let's look at the python. Remember, the python is that really, really big snake. So that python is mostly purple, although you could write that he has a neat design or pattern on him. He's got no legs, and he's super, super long. Look at him as he goes through that rabbit hole. He's taken up a lot of room. So underneath python, that's exactly what I put: that he's purple, that he has no legs, and that he is long. So now let's look at the crow. Remember, a crow is a kind of bird. We see them here already on this page, but you can also look through the text. If you want to do this evidence organizing even more on your own, you could listen to the story from yesterday and pay attention to whoever your character is that you're focusing on. So there's the crow. So I see that the crow is black. He's got wings. And he, of course, has a beak because he's a bird. So that's what I put right here for what the crow looks like. Then I also have a second section that I want to figure out. And I want to figure out how these animals move. So I'm going to have to look at some of the words in the text to figure out how they move. So the first one is that iguana. So we can go to the page with the iguana. And it says that the iguana lumbered on. So if you are lumbering, you're moving pretty slowly. So he's walking pretty slow. And it says that he was bobbing his head. So moving it up and down. So underneath his section, I can write that he walks slow and that he bobs his head. For the python, I can look in the text to see how he moves, and I can see that he slithers and he slides. And then for the crow, of course, he flies, and they also say caw, caw. So you can find that in the text as well. So this is how to create an evidence organizer. So you can do the same thing at home, or you can pick a different character. There are lots of characters that we didn't talk about just now. You can look at the monkey, you can look at the owl, you can look at the mosquito or the rabbit, a lot of different characters, and see if you can create a little list of things of how they look and how they move. And that's going to help you on Friday to pick your favorite character and write your opinion about which character you like the most and why. All right, you all, tomorrow we're going to look at this text again, and we're going to figure out the essential meaning, because there is a really good lesson in this story. So that's what we're going to focus on tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of the day, everybody, and happy learning.